Your brother will be taking over as CEO effective immediately. My father's words echoed through the conference room as my heart stopped. James needs this opportunity more than you do, Alexandra. You understand, don't you? I stared at my father, then at my younger brother James, who sat there with that familiar smug smile I'd known since childhood. The same smile he wore when he broke my science fair project in high school and got away with it. The same smile when he crashed my car in college and somehow made it my fault. My name is Alexandra Chen, and at 35, I had just watched my father hand over my life's work to my perpetually failing brother. The company I built from nothing to a $50 million valuation was about to become his latest playground. Of course, I replied, my voice steady despite the earthquake happening inside me. Congratulations, James. My father beamed, clearly relieved by my apparent acceptance. The board members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, but nobody spoke up. Why would they? Richard Chen's word was law in this company, even if he hadn't been actively involved in years. I knew you'd understand, sweetheart, my father said, patting my hand. You've always been the practical one. James needs a chance to prove himself, and what better way than with a successful company? A successful company I built. The words stuck in my throat as I remembered the countless nights I'd spent in this very office, the years of sacrifice, the deals I closed while James was busy partying through his third attempt at college. When does the transition begin? I asked, already pulling up my calendar on my phone. Tomorrow, James announced, leaning back in his chair. I've got some big ideas for changes. Time to shake things up around here, sis. I nodded, my fingers flying across my phone screen, not checking my calendar, but sending 2 pre-written messages I prepared months ago when I first noticed the signs. One to my lawyer, one to my tech team. You see, my father and James had forgotten something crucial. Actually, they've forgotten several things. First, they've forgotten who built the company's infrastructure from the ground up, who designed the proprietary software that made us industry leaders, who held the patents, the client relationships, and most importantly, who had planned for this exact scenario. I'll have my office cleared out by morning, I said, standing up. Will that be all? My father frowned slightly, probably expecting more resistance. Don't be dramatic, Alexandra. You'll still have a position here. Head of operations, perhaps. You've always been good with details. That's generous of you, I replied, gathering my things. I'll think about it. As I walked out of the conference room, I heard James already starting to brag about his plans for corporate retreats and office renovations. My father's proud laughter followed me down the hallway. In my office, I found my assistant Maria already packing my personal items. One look at my face told her everything she needed to know. It happened? She asked, carefully wrapping my awards in bubble wrap. Right on schedule, I confirmed, sitting down at my computer for the last time. How long until everything's ready? The new office is set up, Maria reported efficiently. The team knows what to do. Contracts are prepared. We just need to execute protocol exit. I smiled, thinking about the months of careful planning that had led to this moment. While my father was grooming James to take over, I had been preparing too. Did they ever even rig the company's structure? I wondered aloud, typing in the commands that would start the transfer. Or did they just assume everything would run itself? Maria snorted, a rare break in her professional demeanor. Mr. James asked me this morning where we keep the cloud. I laughed despite myself, thinking of the chaos tomorrow would bring. The moment James realized that the proprietary software running everything was actually owned by my separate LLC. When my father discovered that our biggest clients had personal contracts with me, not the company. When they both learned that most of our key staff had dual employment agreements. I had built this company smart, protecting myself from exactly this kind of takeover. Tomorrow, 50% of our workforce would walk out with me to our new venture. The software would need to be relicensed at market rates. The clients would need to be renegotiated. My phone buzzed with confirmation messages as everything was set in motion. I looked around my office one last time, at the empty walls where my patents had hung, at the blank spaces where photos had documented my journey from startup to success. Ready? Maria asked, holding the last box. I nodded, picking up my laptop. Time to go build something new, something they can't take away. As we walked out, I heard James's voice booming from the conference room, making grand promises about the future. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Tomorrow would come soon enough. Tonight, I had a new company to launch. The next morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls and over 100 text messages. My father's name dominated the notifications, followed by James's increasingly panicked messages. I sipped my coffee, watching the chaos unfold from my new office across town. "Systems are completely offline," Maria reported, setting a stack of papers on my desk. "It confirms the software licenses expired at midnight. James has apparently been screaming at the tech team for 3 hours." I nodded, scrolling through the messages. "Alexandra, what's happening to the computers?" "James, call me immediately." "Dad, nothing's working. Fix this now." "James, where is everyone?" "Dad." The last one made me smile. By now, they must have noticed that half the workforce hadn't shown up. Each of them had received better offers from my new company, Phoenix Technologies, weeks ago. The contracts had been signed in secret, everyone waiting for this exact moment. "How's the client transition going?" I asked, opening my laptop to check our new company's systems. "Smooth so far," Maria replied. "Most of them already signed with us last month. They just couldn't announce it until today. The rest are calling to ask what's happening at Chen Corp." My phone rang again. My father. This time I answered. "What have you done?" he demanded, his voice shaking with rage. "Good morning to you too, Dad," I replied calmly, "having technical difficulties." "This is sabotage. Your brother can't access any of the systems. Half the staff is missing. Our biggest clients are sending termination notices. Fix this immediately." I leaned back in my chair, remembering all the times he dismissed my concerns, ignored my achievements, and pushed James forward despite his incompetence. "I can't fix what isn't broken, Dad. The software license belonged to my personal LLC. It expired at midnight. The staff who left were all hired under dual contracts, perfectly legal. As for the clients, they're free to choose who they work with." "You planned this," he accused. "You deliberately sabotaged your brother's success." "No, Dad, I protected my own success. The success you tried to hand to James like it was yours to give away." I heard James in the background, demanding to know what was going on. My father covered the phone, but I could still hear their conversation. "She owns the software. The whole damn system is hers." "What do you mean she owns it?" "We own the company. The company used licensed software, her software. She owns the patents." Their realization was almost comical. For years, they'd seen me as the reliable daughter, the practical one who handled the details while they focused on the big picture. Those details had just brought their grand plans crashing down. "Alexandra," my father's voice was different now, trying for reconciliation. "We can work this out. Come back, and we'll talk about a better position for you." "I already have a better position," I replied. "CEO of Phoenix Technologies. We launched this morning." The silence on the other end was deafening. "You can't do this to us," he finally said. "I already have. Check the business news. The press release went out an hour ago. Industry leader launches innovative new venture. Our stock price should be interesting today." As if on cue, Maria handed me a tablet showing the market response. Chen Corp's stock was plummeting as news spread about the mass exodus of staff and clients. "You've destroyed everything," my father accused. "No, Dad, I built something new. Just like I built Chen Corp. The difference is, this time you can't give it away." I ended the call and turned to Maria. "How are we doing?" "All systems online, staff settled in, clients transitioned. We're fully operational." I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the city skyline. My new office had a better view than the old one, just one of many upgrades. "Send out the all-hands meeting notice," I said. "It's time to welcome everyone properly." As I prepared for the meeting, my phone buzzed with a text from James. "You'll regret this. Dad's talking to the lawyers." I smiled, thinking of the thick binder of legal documentation my lawyers had prepared, documenting every step of this transition. Everything was legal, ethical, and meticulously planned. Let them talk to their lawyers. I had built this exit strategy as carefully as I built the company they tried to take from me. They just hadn't been paying attention to the details. My new conference room was filled with familiar faces, the best talent from Chen Corp, now free to work without James's interference. As I stood to address them, I felt none of the anger or bitterness from yesterday, only excitement for what we would build next. "Welcome to Phoenix Technologies," I began, "where we value talent, innovation, and most importantly, where we recognize and reward the people who actually do the work. The applause was deafening. We were ready to soar. 6 months after launching Phoenix Technologies, I sat in my office reviewing our latest quarterly reports. Our valuation had already surpassed Chen Corp's, which was struggling to recover from what the business media had dubbed the Great Migration. My father had tried everything: legal threats, attempted client poaching, even emotional manipulation through family members. Nothing worked. Our patents were ironclad, our contracts secure, and our new company was thriving. "Your brother's CV just came through our hiring portal," Maria announced, trying to hide her amusement. Should I add it to the rejection pile? I nearly choked on my coffee. He applied here. Apparently, Chen Corp isn't doing so well under his leadership. They've lost 70% of their market value. The board is considering a vote of no confidence. I shook my head, thinking about the irony. James, who'd been handed a successful company on a silver platter, was now desperately seeking employment at the company he'd mocked as my temper tantrum just months ago. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother, who'd remained notably quiet during the whole ordeal. "Your father's not sleeping. James is drinking again. Can't we find a way to fix this?" Fix this, always their solution. Have Alexandra fix everything while they continued making the same mistakes. Not this time. Send James the standard rejection letter, I told Maria. The one about not meeting our qualification requirements. She grinned. With pleasure. Later that afternoon, as I was reviewing potential acquisition targets, including, ironically, some of Chen Corp's struggling subsidiaries, my office door opened. My father stood there, looking older than I'd ever seen him. "Security let me up," he said quietly. "Said you'd authorized it." I had. I'd been expecting this visit ever since I'd heard about the upcoming board vote. "Have a seat, Dad." I gestured to the chair across from my desk, the same way he gestured to me that day 6 months ago. He sat heavily, looking around my office. His eyes lingered on the wall of awards, new ones earned by Phoenix Technologies for innovation and workplace excellence. "You've done well," he admitted. Better than we're doing." "I know," I replied simply. No gloating, no anger. Just facts. "The board wants to remove James," he continued. "They're talking about selling to one of our competitors. Everything I built, gone." I noticed his choice of words. Everything I built. Still unable to acknowledge my role, even now. "You didn't build it, Dad," I said quietly. "I did. You just gave it away." He flinched but didn't argue. "Progress, of sorts." "I thought I was doing the right thing," he said. James needed to earn something on his own," I interrupted. "Instead, you taught him he could take what others built. How's that working out?" My father slumped in his chair, looking defeated. "I've come to ask for your help, not for James, but for the employees who are left. Good people who might lose their jobs if the company fails." I've been expecting this too. In fact, I'd been preparing for it. "I have a proposal," I said, pulling out a folder. "Phoenix Technologies is interested in acquiring Chen Corp, not a merger, an acquisition. We'll retain most of the staff, maintain the brand as a subsidiary, but under our management." His eyes widened as he realized what I was offering, and what I was asking. "You want to buy us out?" "Yes, at fair market value, which, as you know, isn't very high right now. James steps down, you retire, and I'll ensure the company survives. That's my offer." He stared at the proposal for a long time. I could see him struggling with the idea that his daughter would now own everything, not because he gave it to her, but because she earned it. "The board will accept," he finally said. "They've been hoping for something like this. But James isn't your problem anymore," I said firmly. "Neither am I." He nodded slowly, standing up. "You're right, you never were the problem. I was." As he walked to the door, he turned back one last time. "For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Not for what you built, but for how you stood up for yourself, even against me." After you left, I walked to the window, looking out at the city where I'd started my first company and where I'd now built something even stronger. My phone buzzed with a message from James. "Dad told me about the acquisition. We need to talk." I deleted it without responding. Some bridges weren't meant to be rebuilt. Maria knocked on my door. "The board of Chen Corp is ready for your call, and the champagne is chilling for when you're done." I smiled, turning back to my desk. Let's go buy a company. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about rising so far above those who doubted you that they can't help but look up and wonder how they failed to see your value in the first place. The view from the top was worth every step of the climb.